Welcome our distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri. Over to you.
Thank you, TLI Chair Abdul. We will not be President Distinguished, we'll go for Smedley Distinguished. That is our aim, and I'm very sure our district is very much in the progress for that. Well, when COVID struck, I think we all got into this new mode of communicating in Toastmasters through online medium. Well, everyone was trying to get hold of Zoom and understand the features and everything. I saw that there was this one person who was creating videos and sharing it on the YouTube. And I'm not sure how many of you have checked Kejetan's YouTube channel, but I have been a big fan of him. He uses technology in the best possible way. I think he has created quite a lot of tools. Some of them that I enjoyed are the background automatic timer. I came to know how to use video and the PowerPoint presentations together. I think that is one big example of how you can utilize difficulty and into your advantage. So what he does is he speaks through a lot of designing, and I've been a big fan of his work. So we've been requesting him to do a session for us, and I'm so thankful to Kejetan for agreeing to share his valuable knowledge and insights with all of us. I'm sure our peers are going to benefit by large. And I'm so happy to see so many Toastmasters from all over the world. Thank you all for joining today. It's not every day that we get to meet people from other districts. And I'm sure that Kajetan definitely has his influence all over the world. And we are all very happy to learn from each other. So to me, PR is definitely the face of the club, face of the district, face of every person. And I'm very happy that we have one of the thoughtful Thursdays dedicated for our PR session. I'm going to eagerly look forward to all the knowledge that our trainer is going to share for today. I'm pretty sure all of us are going to benefit by large through this program. I welcome you all once again for this wonderful event. I think some of you have joined from different parts of the world, so I'm not sure whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. 100% sure that we are all united by the passion to become better version of ourselves. Let's have a wonderful session, and I'm very glad to address you all in the beginning. Back to you, Abdul.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Gayatri, for your address. Now let's move to our Program Quality Director, distinguished Toastmaster Mohankrishnan. Yeah, distinguished Toastmaster Mohankrishnan is an engineering graduate having 15 years of experience in software industry. He is currently working as the principal product manager in Gen Digital, a passionate public speaker, avid traveler, having traveled 20 plus countries, the first member to achieve Pathways Distinguished Toastmaster in District 120. He has created the first of his kind membership dues calculator for clubs and members. He has served at various positions as conference chair for annual conference of Division I Illuminate 2018, served as assistant division director program quality, served as an area director, served as a division director of Division A, and served as the club growth director, currently serving as the program quality director of District 120. Let's welcome our program quality director, distinguished Toastmaster Mohankrishnan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abdul, our TLI chair, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who is present here. The reason I have to address all the time zones is, as Gayatri mentioned, I keep seeing this chats coming in. I see people from Muscat, of course, Bahrain, Miami, and a lot of folks from India. So first of all, thank you so much for taking your time to join and learn something on this Thursday. That's very important. You know, learning is what keeps us going. So, and this is something that is very important. They always say all of us have stories to share, and I strongly believe PR or branding or marketing is a way of sharing our stories to across the globe or whatever our target, whoever our target audience is. So I think this session is something very special for me as well. I'm basically a PR guy. I love PR or branding stuff. So I think it's important to all of our clubs or members, which of course goes up the ladder, that we follow the branding or what's important. How do we learn things in Canva and stuff, and And Kechetan, I think I know Kechetan for a little over 4 years, even before the pandemic. And I like Abdul mentioned and Gayatri mentioned, I'm also a big fan of this Tech for Toastmasters YouTube channel. The moment we not know something or TA made some UI or UX changes, we used to check if Kechetan has made a video of what's coming new. So that has been so helpful, Kechetan. Keep doing all the good work, and thank you so much for accepting to be here at District 120 and sharing your knowledge and wisdom to our members. When I say our members, I have to extend this to all the district members that have joined today. Uh, and I also request our members to come on video if you're in a position to come, turn it on, so the trainer feels good and it's also interactive, right? So once again, thank you so much for joining here on this session. I'm also definitely looking forward to learn a lot of new stuff from Kechetan. In fact, recently I also know Kechetan has been kind of being a brand ambassador for Udly. So that's something that we all are learning as well. So thank you so much. Sit back and learn something today from the session. Looking forward to learn something as well. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Abdul.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Mohan Krishnan, for your address. Now, without any further ado, let's introduce the trainer for today's session, distinguished Toastmaster Kajetan Barito. He is a certified trainer, public speaker, behavioral assessor, and a passionate Toastmaster. He works as a group manager, project management office at Al Sayer Holding, based in Kuwait. Kajetan joined Toastmasters in August 2017 and in a short period has completed CL 4 times, ALB, club sponsor, club mentor, 5 paths in Pathways Education System, and is currently pursuing Path 6. He served as club president, vice president, education, area director, division director for District 20, which comprises of Kuwait and Bahrain. Kajetan achieved distinguished Toastmaster status in June 2020. Kajetan was awarded the prestigious District Toastmaster of the Year for 2018-2019 during DTAC 2020. Let's put our hands to welcome our trainer, distinguished Toastmaster Kajetan Barito. Over to you.
Thank you, TLI Chair Abdul, and special thanks to District Director Gayatri and my friend PQD DTM Mohan Krishnan. It's lovely and nice to be here. In fact, as far as my introduction goes, for the last, I think, 1.5 years, I've been saying I'm on path number 6, but I'm not progressing because I'm so busy either delivering workshops, making YouTube videos as mentioned. So I don't get time to do my Pathways projects. But I believe I have achieved 2 distinguished awards in the Pathways program. So now I believe it is time to give back to the community. So I'm here today to share. And today my focus is mostly not on telling you about this is branding, that is branding, or this is Canva. I want to really go one step above, but I want to make sure our audience is well versed, at least to a large extent, and understand the basics of branding, because I don't want to leave you behind or say something that seems Greek to you. So without further ado, let me start my short presentation first. So we are going to focus on getting creative with Canva. We are not going to go to the basics of what is Canva, what is branding, but really how to use this branding and this Canva tool and create something a little more creative, attractive. As mentioned, my name is Kajetan Barito. I used to be a passionate photographer till I got into Toastmasters. So these days it is all about Toastmasters. And most of my focus in the last couple of years, especially since the COVID started, was creating YouTube videos on my channel, Tech for Toastmasters. So branding is the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. So we have to all buy into this concept of what is branding before we get creative with branding. Who can tell me what this means to you, this symbol?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, right? It is so distinctive. Anywhere you go in the world that has McDonald's, whether you like McDonald's or no, you know it is McDonald's. If you enter the McDonald's, you know that whether it is in US or Kuwait or India, the structure will be the same. The signage will be the same. The way people greet you will be the same. The consistency is the branding. What about this?
Toastmaster.
Where leaders are made, Toastmasters brand, even though it's not a visual, it is still a trademarked message where leaders are made. That's what Toastmasters stands for. So when we talk about creating content, when we want to create, and especially those of you who are VPPRs, and you are given the task of creating communication that needs to reach out mostly to non-Toastmasters, because when we create content, when we create flyers or any kind of messaging, whether in newspapers or in social media, the whole idea is to send the message of Toastmasters to those who don't know about Toastmasters so that they get interested and join our club. So there are only few elements, brand elements, that we need to be aware about. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but I want to make sure that you are aware about it. So all of you all are aware of the Toastmaster brand logo, what it looks like? Just say thumbs up or say, yes, I know what the Toastmaster logo looks like. And also, as far as possible, please, most of you all try to come on the video. Why? Because I can then see that whatever I'm saying is of interest to you. And if you start yawning, then I know I need to change the subject. When it comes to colors, Toastmasters has a set of colors. And I generally want you all to be aware that there are this few colors that we should use and everything else we should not use. Anybody wants to volunteer and say what are the colors that are available in the Toastmaster brand palette? Either chat or I think you can unmute yourself and say it. Yeah.
Grey cool, yellow, blue loyal, maroon true, and black and white.
Yes. So in fact, some of you all, Philip has even put the codes of the colors, which is like very precise. But I want to understand, is there somebody in the audience who doesn't know about the Toastmaster brand colors, especially if you are a VPPR, because we are now, I think, in month 5. And I assume all VPPRs who create content are aware of these colors, right? So if somebody is not aware of the colors, forget about the codes. We can always remember the codes or look up the codes. But this general idea that these are the colors that we can use. In fact, I myself forget them. So I use this, I always keep this on my side and say, oh, the colors are cool gray, true maroon, loyal blue. These are the 3 what we call primary colors of Toastmasters. We should know this, that there are only 3 primary colors. We should also know there is a color which is yellow, but it is not the Toastmaster primary color. Anybody knows what the yellow color is used for? What is it called, by the way, in the Toastmaster brand manual?
An accent color?
Yeah.
It's an accent color. That is, it's used, like, for example, in this slide, you see I've drawn the line in yellow. It's just an accent. It's not the primary color. But the other color, the blue, that's the primary color. The cool gray, which is the slide background, that's the primary color. These are the colors that we can use, or the true maroon. So these are the colors that we can use when we are creating Toastmaster brand content, which means getting creative is a challenge, right? If you are only limited to 3 colors and 1 accent color, and then, by the way, there are 2 more colors which are not mentioned in the manual, but they exist by default, which is white and black. So you are limited to this, and then you say, how can I be creative? Always VPPRs have this question, how can I be creative if I don't use this color or that color? And to address to some extent that question, Toastmasters, I think 2 years back, they introduced a concept called gradient, where you can mix up a few colors and get slight effect that looks more interesting, more creative, but still within the brand palette. It's not like you can mix red and purple, for example. There are set colors that you can use for gradients. And then there was another concept introduced for colors. Anybody can tell me what that concept was? To get a little more creative. So we have colors, the primary color or the accent color, then we have the gradients, and then we have one more concept in colors.
Color wheel.
Transparencies. Philip, yeah, of course, you should get it because you know all the color codes. So Philip has mentioned something called transparencies. So in your brand manual, there's one page which describes how you can manipulate this brand colors with some transparency to get different effect. And it is very precisely defined how that effect should be achieved. So that's how we get creative. Use the brand colors, use the transparencies, use the gradients, and then start building something creative. Of course, when it comes to fonts, again, there is some limitation, right? Anybody wants to volunteer about the fonts that we can use?
Gotham and Montserrat.
So Gotham is one of the fonts. Montserrat is one of the fonts.
Marriott Pro.
Arial.
Arial is
Sans
not
Pro.
a brand font, but it is like what we call escape clause. If you are on a computer, on a system that has none of the fonts that have been defined by Toastmasters, and the only font available on the system for you to create content, the only available font, let's say, is Arial, then go ahead and use the Arial. But on your system, if you have Gotham, if you have Montserrat, if you have Marriott Pro, and the final one is Sans Pro, then you should use those fonts, not Arial. Right? So again, we are limited to the fonts, that you can only use these fonts. Can we get creative with fonts? I don't know. We will see. And finally, we have images. And this is where I think the greatest challenge comes for PRs. What images can I use? If you go to the Toastmasters official Facebook group and you scroll through it, I could do it now, but I'm sure those of you, by the way, who are not members of the Toastmasters official Facebook group, please go and join it. Very interesting discussions, a lot of information being shared, and it is managed by TI staff. So they monitor what is there on the group. But the good thing is members are free to post questions, even their frustrations, and it's quite, they don't delete such content. So it's quite useful. But if you go through them and you see some of the posters that are submitted in that group promoting meetings, you will, especially me who has this OCD on branding, I feel like pulling my hair. But interestingly enough, those posters are never taken down by the TI staff. Isn't that interesting? That people clearly post brand content that is clearly not brand compliant, and it stays there. Something to think about when we talk about creativity and Canva. So images, we need to be, there is clear guidelines. Images should be of people who are, let's say, empowered, confident, in a network environment. Avoid posting images or using images of food or landscapes or animals or children, but you still find content with such images. And it specifically mentions, please don't use image of a toaster, because people will then associate that with Toastmasters. So there is a line in the brand manual for that. So I want you to look at this and tell me Is this poster, is this interesting poster? Is it something that will make you look twice if it comes into your social feed and you'll stop and say, hey, what's that? First of all, is it brand compliant? Anybody thinks it is not complying with any branding guidelines? So we have the logo on the left hand side, we have the club name, we have pictures of people who look confident, details of the meeting.
Very busy.
Okay. Busy and compliance are two different aspects, right? So we only want to look at the compliance part of it. Okay.
The people are not in the form of networking, or the topmost is not even confident face.
Okay, so you think some people don't look confident?
Top one is not confident at all.
I see. Okay, interesting.
The white background.
Okay, I'm just looking for more feedback, by
The
the way.
white background.
White and black are,
Is white background allowed?
yes, very much allowed. In fact, white background is recommended. I just want to highlight to everyone, white background is recommended, especially if you are printing your content. If you are printing your posters, for example, it is ideal to do it on the white background. Why? Because when you print, imagine you're printing a flyer that you need to post somewhere on some notice board. If you use one of those primary colors of Toastmasters, your printer will start complaining and your ink cartridges will start getting depleted very, very quickly. So in such cases, when your target is to print, the background should be white. Giovanni thinks that the name of the club is not in a compliant font. It is actually a Montserrat, by the way, the font.
It is
Okay,
not well organized.
All right. So organization is more of a design aspect, right? It is not a branding. So if I was to send this to Toastmasters International branding team and say, I have created this, is it brand compliant? The answer from them will be yes, go ahead. Because there are no elements here which are not in compliance. When we say people who look confident, who are empowered, okay, so all of these people, in my opinion, they look okay. Some people might think that one of the person is not confident. That's more of a subjective thing. But on the other hand, if I was to give you this poster,
yeah, that's not brand compliant.
okay, so immediately jumps, yeah. So what are the things that you think are not brand compliant here?
Color itself
Image.
not brand compliant. Font is not
Pictures.
brand compliant. Pictures not brand compliant.
Food
Yes.
not
The
Background,
fonts are also not brand compliant.
Yeah. Fonts not brand compliant. Actually, previous slide I had a doubt, Kajetan, DTM Kajetan. Zoom logo was in light blue. So is that allowed? That is the only doubt I had with respect to Zoom logo.
Zoom. Yeah.
Zoom logo was in light blue. So is it okay to use such logos? I had a doubt.
So we have instructions from the branding team when it comes to social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you want to highlight your handles, your club handles, okay, this is my Instagram page, this is my Facebook page, and in this case, Zoom meeting, we should use the logo of the brand. We cannot tamper, just like we cannot tamper with the Toastmaster logo. If we are going to use their logos, they should be used as is, right? Okay. So they are not, Zoom is not going to make a logo for us which is Toastmaster brand compliant. They'll say this is our logo, use it or don't use it, right? So anytime you are using any social media handles, use the logos, official logos of the brand that you are using, and you will have no problem. I hope that clarifies your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so here while it is not brand compliant, the question that I want you all to look at is, if, for example, you all are running through a social media feed and then, we just tend to scroll very quickly, who will stop when they see the first poster and who will stop when they see the second poster, right? Because if I was scrolling through these images, I'm not reading what is there. I'm just looking at the pictures. When I see the second picture, I will stop if I'm interested in food. If I think, oh, there must be a recipe for some interesting item. Let me click on it. I will stop, right? Is that the person you want to come for your club meeting? Because they might come on false pretenses. They might think that they're coming for a feast. They're not coming to improve their public speaking skills. On the other hand, if they were stopping at the first poster, oh, who are these people? They look interesting. And then when they come and then they meet these people, suddenly the conversation is different. I want to be like that. I want to be featured on this poster. What do I have to do? So when we create content that is sent out to people who are not Toastmasters, it is not about, in my opinion, the theme of the meeting. It is secondary. Who do you want to attract? What is your target audience? That is the reason we have branding. Okay, enough about the concept of branding. Let me share my screen. And jump into Canva. Now, Canva, by the way, I'm sure most of you all have used it to some extent. Very simple design tool. I'm not going to go into the basics of Canva. I'm just going to focus on creating content and how we can manipulate it to make it more interesting. So let's say I want to have created my account. And by the way, for this example, I'm going to use the pro version of Canva. Before I do that, is everyone aware about pro and free account? How many of you are using free account? Raise your hand. And how many of you are using pro account?
I use the Pro account.
Okay. So as far as Toastmasters is concerned, you don't really need the pro account, except if you want to do things faster. That's the only thing. But generally, whatever we want to do in Toastmasters as VPPR, we can manage it with free account, except sometimes we have to do extra steps to achieve the same result. So for my examples, some of the examples I want to share, I will use the pro account and highlight to you, if you don't have the pro account, maybe what would be the alternatives that you can use to achieve the same result. So when we start creating anything in Canva, we of course have to start with create a design. And if you are using a free account, you will have to be very careful about the dimensions that you choose, because once you select a dimension, you are stuck to that. So if you're creating a design for, let's say, Facebook post, then you will choose that. But later on, let's say you want to post it on Instagram, which is square format, you can't do it with a free account, but it is a one click if you have a pro account. So I have a blank canvas here with me, and I want to create content. And I want to stick within the Toastmasters branding that we discussed, the colors, the fonts, the images, and the logo. Some of the advantages, those who are interested in looking at the pro version, is that if you have a pro account, then we have something called brand kit here on the left hand side. And the brand kit allows you to, any problem? No, now I can see correctly. Okay. My quality assurance, my wife was just trying to highlight to me. You all can all see the Canva screen, right? I just want to make sure.
Yes, we can see that.
Okay.
It's-
And then I think I have to change the screen here so that, okay. So what I wanted to highlight to you is if you have the Pro account, then you get access to the brand kit where you can define all the colors in one place, all the fonts in one place, and more importantly, all the images in one place, so that adding images becomes a click of a button and you can add as many images as you want. I have downloaded essentially every image from the Toastmasters website and I uploaded it into my brand kit. So this saves me time. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything different. So when I want to select a color of my background and I click on the color, instead of typing the color code, as was mentioned by one of your attendees today, instead of typing 004165, which is the loyal blue, I could just click here, or maroon or cool gray. So all the colors can be available, which would be difficult if you have the free account. There you'll have to remember the color codes and then type them. So that is about the brand kit, one of the features that you get if you go for a Pro account. Also, I was telling you that you can, instead of using plain colors, you can also use gradients. So if I wanted to use, let's say, the blue gradient to make my poster a little more creative, I can click on the color, document color, and then click on the plus sign here. And we have two options. We can say solid color or we can say gradient. If I choose gradient, then I can create a gradient by clicking on, in Toastmasters, the gradient is made up of two colors. So if I wanted to create a blue gradient, I will click on the first color and type that color code here. Unfortunately, the brand kit color is not accessible when you're creating a gradient. So I have to type 004165. That's the first color. Then click on the second color and then type that color code here, which is 006094. And I have created a gradient. In addition to creating the gradient, we can play with the style of the gradient. So what I have done right now is what we call the linear gradient. So it goes from left to right. If I want it from top to bottom, I can do that. I don't know if you can see the difference. Let me change. I'll make it non-brand compliant just to show you the difference. So that, so this is the two colors that I have used, blue and yellowish. Obviously not brand compliant, but just to show you the difference between the different type of gradients. So linear gradient is left to right, blue to yellow. Linear gradient 180 from top to bottom. Then this one is from top corner to bottom. And this is what we call the circular gradient. All of these are acceptable, by the way, in the brand manual. You can have this kind of gradient. Obviously not this color. I'll have to change it to 006094. So that's the gradient. It looks almost solid, but there is a slight difference. And that's what allows you to create some kind of creative design when you are doing gradients. So that's the gradient. The second thing that we can start adding to this design to make it more creative, to not be so simple as mentioned in the brand manual, is to make use of shapes. So shapes is your friend if you want to create something interesting. So you go on the left hand side and you can select elements and you will find something called shapes here, and you click on see all. These are all the shape elements we can use in our design to get creative. For example, let me use a circle. And this circle, I can place anywhere I want. It doesn't have to be a circle inside the design. I could even, for example, keep it like this. Something like that. And change it to one of the brand colors. Let's say, make it yellow, accent color. I can make more shapes, which is elements, shapes. Make another circle. Use a different color for that. Let's say gray. And you can see now that using shapes is a building block to create creative designs. What is not, what you should avoid is, for example, let's say next meeting is all about Halloween. Avoid the temptation of going and finding a theme like this and creating a Toastmaster design using themes. Okay? Not a good idea, but let's focus on using colors, gradients, shapes. And interestingly enough, in the new version of Canva, you can create the shapes itself in the gradient color. Which means if this is the color and I want to make it as a cool gray gradient, I can click on the color. And because I want to use a gradient, I will not click on the color or type the color code. I will use again this option, add a new color, and choose gradient. And the two colors for the cool gray gradient are, I don't want, because I don't have access to the chat, I can't see because I'm sharing the screen. The first color code is A9B2B1, that's correct. And the second color is actually the color code for the gradient in the brand manual is F5, F5, F5. So you notice that it is a gradient. You can see the darker to the lighter shade. And you can use this to get little more creative. So you can have shapes, any kind of shapes, color them in any of the brand colors or any of the gradients that are available in Toastmasters and have fun. Okay, so that's the shapes, the gradients, and the colors. When it comes to the logo, I always advise people to find the latest version of the logos on the Toastmasters website. So when you go to the Toastmasters and you find resources and scroll down till you find brand portal. And here we have logo and design elements. Why do I ask people to come here and check the logos? Because sometimes Toastmasters remove some logos, add some logos. So if you had downloaded logos earlier, some of them might have been discontinued. So always check what is the latest logos that are available and then use them. When it comes to Canva, when you look at all of these logos, you'll find something called JPG and PNG. Anybody knows the difference between JPG and PNG? In the chat, let me check my chat, by the way.
JPG, you get it with the background, and PNG, you can get it without the background.
Excellent, yes. So any image, a PNG image has a transparent background. I mean, you can make a transparent background in PNG, which you can't do in JPG. What's the difference? Let me show you the difference. If I was to take this color logo from JPG And the easiest way to do that, by the way, is just click on it, then right click, and then say copy image. Once you copy the image, after right clicking, you come to your design, anywhere, keep the cursor anywhere and press Ctrl V. Ctrl V is called paste, and you will get the logo. Then you can resize it using your mouse. You can move it around. So this is the JPG version. Let me go back to the Toastmaster website and select the PNG version. They look the same. There is no difference, but let's see the difference. If I say right click, copy image, come to my design, anywhere, and Control V. Which one do you prefer? A or B?
B.
B, PNG.
Yeah, because it integrates very well, by the way, with the Toastmaster colors. Notice how they have done it. I am placing it now on the blue background, right? Let me change the background to maroon. You notice that it still retains, the other border of yellow. It still remains distinctive. If I change the background to yellow, which I shouldn't do, by the way, because this is an accent color, not a primary color, still it will retain the maroon background, maroon outline. So it retains the outline regardless of which brand color you have used as the background. And that's the good thing about this PNG version, the transparent version. Let me go back. I can undo whatever I have done by clicking on this undo or Control Z, and we are here. So this is the logo. Now, this is the only item you should not try to get creative. The logo is an integral part of Toastmaster identity. It should be used exactly as presented. You should not try to change it. You should not try to rotate it. Right? You should use it exactly as it is and ensure that it is prominent in your design. When I say prominent, this is not prominent. It's too small. How about this? Is this prominent enough for you?
That's too much.
That's too much, right? Yeah. Of course, it's from brand perspective, there is nothing wrong with this, by the way.
But the letters
from
may
an aesthetic
over.
point of view,
Yeah.
you have to be aesthetic. From a design point, you might want to make sure that it is integrated well with your design. Okay, so that's how we do the logo. Colors we have seen. Coming to fonts. Now, I want to talk a little bit about fonts. Now, fonts, there are only two fonts available in Toastmasters, Gotham and Myriad Pro. Those are the official fonts of Toastmasters. So when you see the Toastmaster magazine, it is written or it is designed using these two fonts. The only problem with Gotham and Myriad Pro font is they are very expensive, costing several thousands of dollars actually. If you want to buy the official Gotham font, you have to be willing to pay a couple of $1,000s. No club is able to afford it, correct? No club is able to afford a Myriad Pro font, which also costs several $1,000s. I read somewhere about maybe 10 years ago, Toastmasters had bought Myriad Pro font, one for each district, and the PRM was given that font. I don't know if they still have access to it or it just got lost in the last few years. But because they're expensive, of course, there are clones. In any industry, you'll find clones. So you can download free versions of Gotham. You can download free versions of Myriad Pro. But remember, they are not Myriad Pro. They're not Gotham. They're not the originals. That's the original fonts. Gotham to be used for headings and Myriad Pro to be used for the body. Because Toastmasters realizes that we can't use them or we can't buy them, so they have come up with equivalent fonts which are free and available in most software. So in Canva, you will not find Gotham. So when I click here and I want to say text, and I want to add a heading, let's say, and I look at the fonts that are available, if I search for Gotham, I should not find it because, I'm using the pro version, I have uploaded them. But in your free version, if you search for Gotham, you would not find Gotham font. Okay, same thing should happen for Myriad Pro. But in my case, you are seeing them because I'm using the pro version, I have downloaded the clones of these fonts. Okay. So if I want to use Gotham, but I don't have Gotham, then your option is Montserrat. And let me search for Montserrat. So we have this Montserrat Classic, different versions of Montserrat. All of these are okay. You can use any of these versions. I have used Montserrat Bold. And that's the heading. Possibly I will put the club name there. Which brings me to the second aspect of fonts when you are writing any text. I want you all to pay attention to contrast. So I've used the right font, but I have used a color. Let's use, for example, instead of black, let me use this one. What do you think about this? What's the problem here?
Maybe
It's illegible.
Pardon?
It's illegible. It's illegible. Cannot be read easily.
Why cannot it be read? Can you tell me?
The colors are clashing.
Clashing. I think the contrast is the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Okay. So contrast was the word I was looking for. What does it mean? It means when your background is dark, your font should be light. If your background is light, your font should be dark. So let's look at some of these combinations that will work. So if I am using blue, which is a dark color, what font could I use here to be legible?
Yellow.
Could I use gray?
Gray or white?
Yellow or white.
White, of course we can use white. That is very contrasty, but I'm asking, can I use this? Is it legible?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about yellow?
Yes.
You can. All right. Let's change the background to cool gray. Okay. Do you think this is not cool gray? Oh, hang on a minute. Is it cool gray? A9, B2, B1. Yeah, okay. My eyes must be getting a little weak. It looks different to me. Anyway, now I have a cool gray background. Is the contrast?
No.
No.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard, right? I mean, there is some contrast, but not enough. So what color would you use here for the maroon? Great. That's a
Red.
dark color. What about blue?
Blue also.
Blue also. What about black?
Yes.
Yeah.
More
So that's the thing. For me, consider cool gray, yellow, and white as your light, and black, maroon, and blue as your dark, and then use one of those contrasts. Okay. Let me go back. I'll keep it like this. And maybe I will use a subheading. Now, I used here Montserrat. Now, this is, let's say, the body of the text of the content, which means I should use Myriad Pro, which is not available in Canva, but I can use Source Sans Pro, which is a free font. What color for the font do you recommend here?
White.
White. What about yellow?
Not contrast.
Okay. So finally, I have 5 minutes more as far as my timer is concerned. 5 or 7 minutes, I think. I want to focus on the images because that's generally where the biggest challenge lies for us. And my opinion is that if you want images, your first source of images should be images of your club members, because people can relate to the people, the community. So as much as possible, whenever you are having meetings, try to take photos that can be used in your promotional material, okay? Or your club members. Ask them to take nice photos, for example. These are the type of images that work well because they communicate what this person who's reading this communication or this flyer is going to get if they come for the meeting. Example of asking members, can you please take a photo and then share it with us, with the PR team? And here is the other part when you're dealing with photos, especially when you talk about portraits. The interesting thing, if you have a free pro version of Canva, is it's a one click to remove the background. So you click on edit photo and you say BG remover. And you can remove the background of the photo. Let's look at another photo. Edit photo, background remover. The other way you can use photos creatively in Canva is to use something called frames. And frames are found on the elements on the left hand side. The easiest way to search for frames is in the search elements, type frames. And you'll get frames and then click on see all. You have various types of frames that can be used. And frames are nothing but placeholders to put photos. As we do, photo frames, they are like photo frames. So if you, for example, choose a frame like this, what does it mean? It's a frame, it's a placeholder. So if I was to take this photo and move it inside the frame, I get like this. And once I do that, I can click on edit photo and I can click on crop to move it in the right place. When I click crop, I can then kind of adjust it or make it big or small. And this is how the frame will look like. So that's another creative way of using portraits, using removing the background or using frames. And if I want, let's say, the frame background to be another other than yellow, click on this and use one of the other brand colors and you are good to go. The other resource that you have, of course, is the professional images available on the Toastmasters website, which is in the resources. brand portal. And for some reason, you have to click on, it's not very obvious where are the images, the professional images. You have to click on leveraging the brand, and then you'll find professional images over here, kind of hidden. I don't know why. And when you click on it, you will find all the images that are provided by Toastmasters, free to use for clubs, districts in their promotional material. Just click on it. You can either download them on your computer, or the easiest way I do it is I click on it, so I get the slightly high resolution version. As I did with the logo, right click, copy image, then bring it to my design and press Ctrl V. It should come here. That's the other way. As I mentioned, if you have the Pro account, then you could have loaded them all at one time in Canva for quick access. Now, we have completed fonts, colors, logo, images, contrast, shapes, and how we can use the standard colors or gradients. And I have reached, according to my timer, 50 minutes. And I hope within this 50 minutes, I have shared some insight about why we need to be brand compliant, how we can create our designs a little more creatively, but don't go overboard to the point that the target audience doesn't know what they're getting. The target audience should always get a message saying, oh, this is a place where I can go and improve my public speaking skills first, and then leadership skills. Even though our tagline is where leaders are made, in my opinion, 99% of the people who join Toastmasters want to become better speakers, better public speakers. So that's the message they should see when they see your PR content. Any questions? I will ask our TLI chair, but from my side, I have reached the end of my allotted time. Thank you so much, Abdul.
Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished Mr. Kajitan, for your time in conducting the session. I'm sure it will be very much beneficial for us, and you can, those who have, if you have any questions, you can post that, or we can take one or two questions since we are just on time. Okay. Thank you. You can post your feedback as well in the chat. And distinguished Mohan, do you have anything?
Abdul, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Kajitan, given a choice, would you like to use PowerPoint or Canva to create the collaterals? So what would be your choice and why?
Tell me again.
Given a choice, would you like to use a PowerPoint or Canva to create
PowerPoint? I hate PowerPoint. It's very time consuming. It is very good if you really want to invest your time on it, and if you have the passion to create, because you can really create some amazing shapes, because in PowerPoint you can merge, cut, which you can't do in Canva. You can go quite deep in PowerPoint, but it is hard. Canva, you press a button, and in my opinion, as VPPRs, we have too much work on our head already. We are all working people. We need tools that help us to create content as quickly as possible. There will be a few people who are passionate about it and want to invest time in it. But for the rest of us, we want to churn out posters very quickly and get on with our life and maybe prepare for our next Pathways project. So that's why I sort of think Canva is better. Though recently, by the way, Microsoft has launched a new product called Microsoft Designer. And I'm planning to make some YouTube videos on that, because I believe that has more or less the features of Pro Canva, but for free. So if you are interested, to explore creating a brand kit and colors which are defined, and look at it, Microsoft Designer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jatin, I would probably ask a question that has always been around. All right. I know the answer, but would love to hear it from you as an expert as well. There's this perspective from a few of the clubs saying, the colors are limited. There's only loyal blue and true maroon and cool gray, and I want to use more. So I would probably, I know we need to be brand compliant, but I would probably rather not use the Toastmasters logo and probably go use purple, magenta, all the all the other colors. So, wanted to tell us how important is it to follow and have the brand logo there, Gajetan?
First of all, I want to highlight one thing very important. The absence of logo does not mean that you can create content that is not within the brand guidelines. As long as you're creating content for Toastmaster and Toastmaster clubs, whether you put the logo or no is optional. It's not mandatory to have a logo, but you have to stay within the guidelines. Please go, those of you who feel that by not having the logo you can be free to do what you want. It is in the FAQ of the last page, I think it's mentioned. As long as you are doing something for the Toastmasters, you have to stick to the Toastmaster branding elements. You put the logo or no, that's optional. Now, the only thing I can say about this is this. If you are really a great designer and you create content that is really striking and within the spirit of Toastmasters, there is a escape clause, and which is you create the design, you send it to brand@toastmasters.org and seek their approval, saying, I am doing this because I believe this will help me achieve certain objectives. And they're quite okay, by the way. They do look at it. Why they don't allow you to do everything you want? Because they want to have that consistency. They want to have that McDonald's experience. So if you do something which is not using the same font, the same color, but the message is loud and clear that this is for public speaking and leadership and empowering you, it is very striking. They will approve it. But of course, for that one time, it doesn't mean you can keep using that, but they will approve it.
Super, Gajetan. I think that's helpful. And I just want to add on to that is the reason why I always think the logo should be there is probably you put that in your social media or WhatsApp status. Probably people who know Toastmasters will know it's a Toastmasters club meeting. But beyond that, let's say a club does not have Toastmasters on their name, Orators Club. People will not know it's Toastmasters. So I personally, it's my opinion that I think it's always good to have that branding there so people will know, okay, there's something called Toastmasters, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Gajetan, for that.
Yeah. So I have posted the feedback link in the chat. I request you all to share your feedback so that we can improve this. Okay. So if you have shared the feedback, if you have completed the feedback, I think we can close the session.